Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of the Tenkar's Tavern blog. So, yesterday, I had the Gathering of Fools with my old gaming group. We've been doing this, uh, I guess, every late May, early June since 2002 in memory of our friend Paul, who we lost when the towers came down on 9/11. And he was a member, one of those members of the gaming group that you always saw. And we gather at least once a year, have a few drinks, play a few games, get a little stupid. Yeah. Got some pictures. Some of them are up on the blog, others are not, because I don't care. But people have real jobs and I don't want to get embarrassed. But it was a good time. I just want to say, shout out to Paul. Hope you are resting well. You died a hero. So, but now we're gonna go on from that. That's just what happened last night. What happened yesterday in the OSR? There's a blog called The Grave Robber's Guide. I hadn't heard of it prior. Apparently, it's an OSR blog. You post 2 or 3 times a month on the average, what I'm seeing, or she. So apparently, there's this whole thing that the if you've been following stupidity in the larger world, you know how the trolls on the internet turned the OK sign into a white supremacy sign. We know it's not. It's been OK's been around for decades, if not hundreds of years. But there's always some dick that can troll the media. Well, now this person is saying that we need to step away from calling the OSR. And central argument, I'm going to quote here, the central argument that the emerging mishmash of art punk modules, new mechanics, and blogs is seen by its contributors, proponents, and outsiders alike as only tangentially connected to the initial movement of an old school revival and or renaissance. I'm going to stop there for a second. If you don't think you're connected to it, then as far as you're concerned, you're not. Some people might see your work as connected to the OSR. It doesn't who gives a shit? There's no central repository of what is and isn't OSR. There's no listing of, okay, you gotta ding off these little things on a checklist. Oh, now you're OSR. That's not how it works. My definition of what I see as OSR, which goes in my mind, in my view, it goes beyond D&D early edition clones. It includes things like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. It includes things like RuneQuest, first, second edition, Call of Cthulhu. Games that have stayed, came out, Traveler. Games that came out in the golden age of RPGs, and their latest iteration is either still very close to the core, or you can get clones or reprints or PDFs of those originals legally and freely. To me, that's my OSR. But we'll go back to this jackass. Sorry, I'm not saying jack. That tells you that I've already made my opinion. But okay. In any case, the initial movement of an old school revival and a renaissance has been recently galvanized by a growing awareness of the depths to which a significant portion of the current OSR uses the acronym as a cover calling card for regressive, predatory, and bigoted behaviors and rhetoric. I have not seen this shit. Now, I'm not saying that it has never happened. I don't see it in the products that I look at, the products and publishers that I use and read the products of, the blogs that I read, the podcasts that I listen to. I don't hear any of this shit. Okay. However, if you say, well, I don't like Zach Smith, and I think that Zach Smith and everything that they've written is OSR, and I think that they are X, Y, and Z, then you're going to label the whole OSR that? You're a fucking ass. But this is beyond the fucking ass part. Being an asshole, to an extent, everybody's an asshole, right? Because everybody has an opinion, okay? And opinions, the first part of an opinion is I whack my cat in the head because my hands move too much on my desk. Um, you know, Opinions are not statements of fact. This person is stating an opinion, and I'm stating my opinion. But they want to start a new acronym. And instead of the OSR, by the way, acronyms are great when they are small, but no, this person wants to do Sword Dream. Why Sword Dream? Second wave of role playing design. Da, 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 da. Okay, there's your sword. DIY rules everything around me. All right, so this is such a forced acronym. It sucks. But then now, God, God help me. Okay, I'm going to include uh, one of these possible logos for Sword Dream, and what it looks like to me now. If you look at it in a kind way, you can say, "Oh, it's a sword over somebody's eyelash with Sword Dream below it." Okay, and it's got that light blue coloring because of the old TSR modules, light blue. Awesome, awesome. But no, when I see this, and if you get offended, well, if you're easily offended, you're probably not listening to the Tavern Chat podcast. But to my eyes, it looks like a cock and scrotum, not balls, because it's like a big uni ball. And those eyelash thingies are like hair. I don't get it. I really don't. Why you would want that to be the logo of any kind of role playing. Oh, by the way, not a community, because the OSR could be a community, but no, it really isn't. It's a bunch of blogs and maybe communities around the blog, but it isn't an overall community, even if people see it as a community. But Sword Dream would not be a community. It would be, I don't know what the fuck it would be. In any case, it looks like a cock and balls, or one very large ball slash scrotum, like that grapefruit size that I saw with that my first DOA as a cop. That horrible story. If you come in on one of the Tavern Chat live hangouts on a Wednesday night, ask about it. I'll retell it. I'm not going to tell it here in the podcast because I don't want anybody like, I don't know, running to the bathroom throwing up like I wanted to do. Why you would think that this would be something that people are going to come running to and take that flag for Sword Dream? I've got no fucking idea. So that logo is bad. The next one, it's another sword. Uh, you know what? I'll be honest with you. It looks like a cock with like 8 balls. I mean, I don't get it. I really, yeah. So why this? Because people who can't, there's a desire from certain people in every hobby to control the narrative, control the direction, to influence the community. And when they can't, they feel they need to redefine the community. Or in this case, say there is no community, it's just games. I don't know. Um, it really, if you're really trying to uh, make this huge change, if you really, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this shit, folks. I apologize, but if you really want to uh, change people and take them, send them away from the OSR, which if you told me the OSR is it skews older and it skews male, I wouldn't argue that. But if you want something that's going to skew away from older and male, why would you want a logo that looks like a cock and scrotum? I mean, really, are you going to send people to another quote movement by saying, "Hey, you shouldn't be hanging out with these old men. Here, come join our community, which does similar games. And look, we have a cock and scrotum for you to come to. This is what you want to. This is how we represent ourselves." So what you're saying is, as opposed to older men, now you got somebody exposing themselves, and this is why we. I'm looking at their issue with regressive, predatory, and bigoted behavior. And yes, cock and scrotum. This is come to the cock and scrotum. Now that should be the name of a tavern, the cock and scrotum. You know, uh, it would certainly have a different uh, visualization. I think before you go into it, that wouldn't necessarily be the right one. But I mean, if that's what you think is going to bring people to your gaming community, then by by all means, cock and scrotum it is. All right, folks. On that note, yes, this is a bit of a uh, of a of a screed, I guess you could say. Um, I would say I should probably bid the adieu before my wife probably rolls out of bed laughing, because I think she pictures herself, going down to the local pub, was it Cock and Scrotum, the local pub, and what? Excuse me, I like a Guinness at the Cock and Scrotum. That's what you want, So build your community around cocks and scrotums, folks. That's the way to do it. If you want to take people away from a male-dominated OSR community, bring them to the cock and scrotum. Okay, sound good? All right, folks. That you know what? I didn't think it was going to be a rant. It was a fucking rant. Uh, I'm about to say, like a YouTube video. If you like what you listen to, press the like button now. There's no like button. If you're listening and you're on iTunes, feel free to give us a review. If you're one of the people that are going to the cock and scrotum, you'll probably leave a negative review. I understand. That's okay. Can't please everyone. So I just try to please my listeners. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, and I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.